Assalamualaikum and a very good day. My name is NOORAZRA Batrisyia from class AS255 Group B. The reason I am here today is to present my social media presentation for botany courses entitled Plant Reproduction. This presentation will be divided into the following subtopics that will be discussed later. To begin my first slide, there are three main components of the plant lifespan: annuals, biennials, and also perennials. So what is these three items for? Annuals usually has life cycle around 1 year. It may be a short time compared to biennials and perennials. Bedding plants are a bit harder to survive, so they were included in annuals, such as watermelon. Next is biennials, 2 years of life cycles. There were two steps in growing. So firstly, we can see that the growth of the root, stem, and leaves. The second is blooming until the death comes. Biennials plants example are carrot, onion, and foxgloves. And there are slightly different in plant life for perennials. It has a very long cycle of time, which is more than 2 years. Contrast to annuals and biennials, the plants will grow faster and continue to survive itself for many years. The example are mango and coconut. So let's move on the next slide. Reproduction timing. There are three main classifications in this topic, and what does it mean? Monocarpic, polycarpic, and paucicarpic. Several differences can be shown between monocarpic and polycarpic. Monocarpic produce only one flower and seed, while polycarpic is more. The next point is after flowering, the monocarpic will die, but polycarpic do not die after flowering at a time. This is because generally the example of monocarpic and polycarpic plant is annuals and perennials respectively. What about paucicarpic? Paucicarpic can be identified by both monocarpic and polycarpic. That brings us to the next main section, which is the reproduction, asexual and sexual. But firstly, let's know what is the asexual reproduction in plant species. This can be divided into two methods, that is the vegetative reproduction and apoxemis. Vegetative reproduction, also called as propagation. This currently happens in plant when cutting the parent plant. Advantages of this method are cloning can be easily made to the offspring, while apoxemis is no fertilization needed in asexual reproduction. The apoxemis method is not similar like the vegetative reproduction, like cutting from propagation. It can be described by the replacement by plantlets and blossoms. Then this would bring to the development of offspring that may look like its parent plant. There are two categories to be described, like agamospermy and apogamy. Agamospermy is more referred to flowering plants. Reproduction in cloning. Apogamy term is mentioned in non-flowering plants such as fern. Clonal propagation without seed, called as sporophytes, that look similar to. Finally, let's look on this last slide section, the sexual reproduction of plants. There are 4 features that play an important role. First, both genders should be included. The development of fertilization and gamete will occur. Process may be slightly slower, and the offspring will produce non-identical to their parents. Sexual reproduction has advantages and disadvantages throughout the process. The advantages of sexual reproduction is the disease will likely to be affected in low rates of the population, but they also can adapt themselves in new environment due to the variety of variation. This can be also have increase in genetic variation. Last but not least, some causes will bring some disadvantages to the plants, such as it is difficult for the plants to find mates to reproduce.